So over the years, there have been so much emphasis on marriage by a certain age on women, and this has brought so much uncertainty on the women all over the world, especially those in Africa.
Severely, he screwed my life up. I've waited for my husband for so many years, and I'm just getting mad. What kind of world do we live in where a normal, regular girl cannot find just a regular guy out here to date?
So there are so many pressures that single women are currently facing just because they are not married. Let me make it personal. I remember a few years ago, while preparing for my final year exam in secondary school, preparing for my YA, the innocent me seated quietly and studying, very focused. All of a sudden, I had this mind switch. All right, when I say mind switch, I'll call it a thought switch. Has this ever happened to you where you are seriously very focused, doing something, and all of a sudden, something you are not thinking about just kind of, switch into your thoughts? That was exactly what happened to me. Now, you can't believe the kind of thoughts that actually came into my mind, right? Thinking about it at the moment, I asked myself, why was I thinking about that at that time? Well, guess what? It was marriage. Then I asked myself, Betsy, are you alright? But then I took a jotter because the kind of thoughts that at that time were coming into my mind concerning the marriage, I told myself, okay, let me put this down. I said, and I quote, these were the words that I wrote down: Betsy, you're beautiful. Oh, yes, of course I know I'm beautiful. So let's say you're going to marry right. All right, so you're going to marry right. Let's say you're going to finish your university at the age of 24 and you're going to get married at 25 and start having your children at the age of 26. And by 30 years, voila, I'm done having my children. Those were the words that I wrote down. Now, those were my desire, those were my thoughts at that time, and those were my wants as well after my university education. But then life has a way of turning things around for you. Now, fast forward to university days, when I started my university. If you are a millennial, you're going to relate to this because back then in the university, our parents would always remind us that our education is more important than any relationship. Yes, you heard me. And you have no right to be in any relationship. You cannot even afford to tell your parents when you are dating because you know why you're going to end that relationship. So you end up ending that relationship with that person because you'll be reminded that it's either your education or your love life, and which is more important to you. You have to choose. So back then I had my parents telling me all the time, especially my dad. He will never fail to remind me that he's not sending me to the university to go chit chat with any guy or mess myself up with any guy, but then I'm there to go to school because the moment anything happens, hola, that's the end of my education and he's going to stop paying my school fees. So I had that mindset and I went into it. I stayed in school with that mindset, telling myself all the time that Betsy, you have to focus and finish your university just to avoid anything. All right. Now, after my university, I went for national service. After national service, came back home. Here, faith came back home, and that is when the real life strikes. Because after your university, after your national service, after your university, after national service, now you go back home. Now, one thing is for sure: it's either you start looking for a job or your Mr. Right comes to take it from your parents' house. For some, Mr. Right came to take them. For some, they had to get a job. Some had to go do their masters. But in my case, no Mr. Right, no job at that time. And you know how difficult it is when you're a fresh graduate getting a job. For some, they were lucky, for some of us weren't. And I was in that category where I didn't get a job immediately. I stayed home, tried to do business with my father. Trust me, for me, I didn't really face some of these pressures that I'm going to talk about because my dad was someone that would always tell me that you have to do your masters or you have to focus and do something for yourself first. While for some of my friends, they were already experiencing the pressures of being single and not married. Now, 1 year passed, 2 years passed, 3 years passed. And one day, I remember my mom asking me a question. All right. I went into the kitchen. Now, guess what the question was? While I was there, innocent me, enjoying myself and all of that, went to the kitchen to drink some water. Just when I took the cup to drink the water, then I heard my mom, Betsy, and I turned. Are you thinking about marriage at all? And I'm like, yes. Why do you ask? She said, because. Guess what she told me? She's just asking. She just wants to know if I actually do think about getting married. Now, why did my mom ask me if I actually was thinking about marriage at that time of my life? Because she saw that I was happy with my life. She saw that I wasn't pressured. She saw that there was nothing going on. And she saw that even being single, I was actually very happy with my life. So what was it that would have to make me start thinking about the whole marriage thing? Don't get me wrong, I was actually thinking about it at that time, but it wasn't so much like more like a pressure. I didn't see it at that time to be something that I had to pressure myself about. No, in as much as at that time I had some friends who got married and just later deserted me and stopped being friends with me just because they got married. So let me ask these questions, ladies. Why do you do that? Like, why do you suddenly just cut off from your friend just because you got married? Now, fast forward to a different occasion where my mom came to my room at 5:30 a.m. or 6, I won't forget. And then she said, Betsy, I want to talk to you. And I said, yes, mom, I'm listening. Betsy, you have served God so much. You have served God even better than I did when I was your age. So God is not going to disappoint you. He's going to give you a man of your dreams. He's going to give you that man that you so much desire. You get married. This was how I was thinking to my. This was how I was I sat like this, just listening to my mom talk. And when she finished, I said, Amen. She literally prayed for me so well that morning. And I said, God. When she left the room, I said, God. I said amen to all my mother's prayers. But I think this is it. I need to start thinking about marriage because because I was literally not thinking about it. But now I think I have to take it serious. That was when I started praying to God. I said, God, please, I want to get married. Send me my husband. I think I'm ready for this marriage thing. Send me my husband before my mom goes crazy. All right, now let's dive into some of the pressures that single women are currently facing just because they are not married. There are a lot of them, but then I'm just going to focus on 4 common ones. And number 1 of this pressure is social judgment and stigmatization. Oh my goodness, this social judgment and stigmatization, I actually faced it. Man, it was crazy. Hey God, there was nothing I didn't hear that time. There was nothing I didn't see. But then this is the aspect where you are so happy with your life. You are thriving in your business, successful, very smart, very beautiful. Yes, you heard me. And you are perfectly okay at being single at that time. All right. But in as much as you are okay with it, the society doesn't think that you should be okay. The society isn't taking it, easy or not. In as much as you feel that this is okay for you, the society isn't saying it that way. The society isn't saying it that way. In fact, the society sees this as a medical condition that needs treatment. Some people walk up to you and tell you, oh, you are single. Why are you not married? Why are you still single? What are you waiting for? Hello? Nobody cares how you're doing. All they want you is to get married. It's true because the society says so that you are 30 years and above and there is nothing you can say or do about it. All you have to do is make sure that you get a man that will come pick you from your parents' house to his house. That is the only way you can be called a woman or you would achieve something. And when it happened to me, at some point I stopped attending functions, I stopped going for weddings because people just walk up to you without minding how you're going to feel about it and start asking questions like, oh, you're single, so when are you getting married? So when is it going to be your turn for the wedding? So when are we also coming to eat party jollof? I don't get it. Why do people do that? It got to a point and I told a friend of mine, I said, look, if anyone dares ask me this question again, they're going to regret it. For some reason, that was the end of it. Now, the second pressure that a lot of single women faced, which I also faced as well at that time, is biological clock. Now, with the biological clock today, there are a whole lot of things in the internet, social media, where people talk about egg freezing, where people talk about the fact that you need to freeze your egg if you are between the age of 30 to 38. You need to freeze your eggs as long as you are single. Now, at this point, they are being reminded that there is no time. You are getting old until sister gets married. What are you waiting for? You need to bring your Mr. Right for them to see. So therefore, you must get married. Because if you don't do that, age is not on your side. You might not be able to have children.
If you're over 30 and you're single, please go and freeze your eggs. I don't mean the eggs that chicken lay. I mean the eggs that your ovaries produce every month. Go and freeze it. This was me at 38 years old, injecting myself during my egg freezing process, like a fake nurse. For me to get quality eggs, we had to do it twice.
And the third pressure that single women are currently facing just because they are not married is family pressure. This is the aspect where I never experienced any pressure from. I mean, I experienced pressure from social, judgment and stigmatization. I experienced pressure from biological clock, but then family pressure, no, I never did. All right. Apart from the one time where my mom called me and prayed for me, like I said earlier, I never had any pressure. But then I knew a lot of friends who experienced that. Even some friends that I knew even went as far as blocking their family, their loved ones, so they don't have access to them, like a barrier. Why? Because they were tired of listening to their parents always reminding them that they need to come home, or they need to bring a man home, they need to get married, they're not growing any younger, or comparing them with their cousins that are married, who are even younger than them. That your cousins are married, this person is married, they have children. What are you waiting for? When are you going to give me a grandchild? Not to talk of the give me a grandchild. They won't go as far as comparing with your friends or probably your best friend who is married and probably abroad with a family. And that is what they do. All right. Without minding the fact that this pressure can be very exhausting, can be very tiring. And there's a limit to certain things that people can take. And there's always this auntie in the family that will never cease to remind you at every given opportunity that you need to get married, you are old. As far as marriage is concerned, if there's any party you're trying to plan, that auntie will always remind you that that is not the kind of jollof rice that she wants to. She wants to eat party jollof, which is your wedding jollof. All right. Some have their grandmothers reminding them that they are going to die, so you have to get married so that I'll see you get married. I'll see my great-grandchildren. What if the man you are bringing home isn't right for you? No, that is not their business. They just want to dance and eat and be happy for you. But the question is, will you be happy into that marriage just because you're trying to please them if you end up marrying the wrong person? No. Now you completely ruin your life. Now the last one, not the least. This one is very common. All right. I never experienced it, but then it's very common. And that is internal pressure, whereby at this point, you are completely tired. You are exhausted. You start thinking something is wrong with you. You start thinking something is wrong with you, that there's a problem. You even go as far as thinking that maybe one of your auntie has actually done something so that you don't have to get married. Some even go as far as going to churches for prayers and for cleansing and bathing and all of that, just because they feel that there's a problem or there's something wrong with them. And they need to actually take that out of their mind, because people say it like, why are you not married? Time is going, bring your Mr. Right home. At some point, you start believing that there is a problem even when there is no problem. It's very wrong. And when depression sets in, some even go as far as staying with someone, that staying in a relationship that they know that this relationship is wrong. There's nothing good about it, but then they are in there just because they want to get married. Stay in abusive relationship with the mindset that, oh, when he marries me, he's going to change. Everything will be all right. No, dear, everything is not going to be all right. He's not going to change. In fact, he's going to double, triple if you are not careful. Marriage is not an achievement. It's a blessing that is ordained by God. And that is why you must take your time and make sure that you make the right decision. Not that you are forced, not because you are pressured, but because you know that you find happiness in this person. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not encouraging you not to get married, because marriage is beautiful. All I'm trying to say is that don't feel pressure to get married, because being single does not mean that you are broke. It doesn't mean that life is over for you. All right. And one thing you need to remember is that there's beauty in the journey, not just the destination. So while you are waiting to get to the destination, create memories for yourself during the journey. All right. If you've ever felt one of these pressures, I want you to know that you are not alone. All right. Because being single doesn't mean you are broke. It doesn't mean you are broken. It just means that you are brave enough to, wait for that man that you deserve. That man that is for you. That man that will treat you with honor and respect. That is who you deserve. So if you relate to this video, leave a comment in the comment section and tell us how you handle your pressures and which of the pressure that you face before you got married or you are currently facing just because you are single and not married. And thank you guys. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also turn on your post notifications so that when I post a video, you will be among the first to see it. I love you guys and see you in my next video.
Rio.